Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to a bit of a different Monday video here, as though I am venturing out of the 80s a little bit more now after those 3 months that I was kind of sticking pretty much just to 80s. This one is kind of like it's from the 80s in a way, as in it's inspired by some events during and also takes place within the 80s, which is for Freaky Tales from 2024, starring a stellar cast of performers, which includes but is not limited to Pedro Pascal, Ben Mendelsohn, Jay Ellis, and Dominique Thorne. So we have some Marvel representation in here, which is fitting, as this is also written and directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, who also brought us Captain Marvel. But the synopsis for this film, in case you're interested, because it's a strange one, is as follows. 4 interconnected stories set in 1987 Oakland, California will tell about the love of music, movies, people, places, and memories beyond our knowable universe. So we have 4 tales here, another anthology, as I said, which I'm always up for. And I believe it has some videos from, I think around Halloween time, which I will link to at the end, or create like a big supercut to upload soon of some of that older content, because I love those little nugget-sized 15 to 30 minute stories stitched together. For this one, here's kind of like the non-spoiler gist of these stories. Our first chapter is about a group of punk rockers who have been being harassed by these local skinheads, invading their venue, trashing the place, beating people up. They need to, these punk rockers now need to decide if they want to try to build any trust and bring in local law enforcement, or scrounge up enough money to hire security, or just kind of stand their ground and fight them off. One of these punk rockers has a crush on another, and he even gets her like this special weapon to use during the fight, as they've kind of grown closer while training. Now throughout this entry we have some nice animated portions as well, and then in the second chapter, this one's not really violent at all. It's about 2 girls who had formed a rap duo and are trying to make it. Now they've been previously seen, and the one who had seen them had, kind of like scouted them out and decided to invite them to this other show when he ran into them outside of this movie theater. So he invites them to perform at this show that he's putting on, like a rap battle of sorts. The main issue for them is that while they are both good and they're wanting to make it, one of them is really doubting herself. She's very nervous, even thinking that perhaps this whole thing is some sort of a trick to kind of take away their street cred in a way by just embarrassing them in front of a bunch of people. And then our third chapter involves a tough guy of sorts, like the muscle for a loan shark. Getting caught up in a bad situation. Somebody from his past is kind of out for revenge, which in turn gets him pulled in even further to this bad situation, questioning if he even wants to do business any longer with some of these pretty nefarious guys. Now this one does have a lot of heartbreak in it and some truly amazing work by Pedro Pascal, and from this portion alone I'm surprised that this film wasn't advertised, but there's more on that later. And our fourth and final chapter in this film is the real kick in the guts. Involves these robberies being conducted while many of the players of a local basketball team are at an important game, since they're all away from home. But through these robberies, things go bad, and it involves some deaths, so we get another case of something horrible happens, let's get revenge. But in a totally different form, a much higher violence and gore level, and with some really strange, like freaky stuff going on there. Now, I am being very vague about all of these chapters for a reason. I really don't want to spoil anything. I went into this being truly blind to the whole thing. All I knew was that, I knew a little bit about some of the people who were stars in it, and that it took place in Oakland in '87, and that something freaky's going on. I actually thought this one was a horror film because that's how little I actually knew about it. But to give a little bit more, one through line besides, these characters all crossing paths at one point or another within this story, is this green lightning stuff happening up in the sky. There's not much explanation, just a quick thing at kind of like an introduction in the beginning of the film, as they're talking about it like it's something that everybody should remember. There was this weird green stuff in the sky kind of thing. But it kind of ties everything together in that there is something paranormal about it, linking everybody together. And such as this glowing on a weapon, which helps during one of these fights. It's a cool thing to kind of be on the lookout during. Again, not spoiling, but once it's introduced and you see that first bit of green, you start to be kind of looking for it in each one of these chapters. Now, outside of that, all the performances in this are great. Everyone is amazing, and it is criminal that this one had no advertising, it seems. You know, I was listening to an episode of the Movie Crypt podcast, and the filmmakers were on, and they said that the budget seemed to get tighter and tighter along the way when it came to the marketing. I believe one of them even mentioned something along the lines of, there were no billboards. We figured, okay, those are pretty expensive. No TV commercials. Okay, yeah, that's an expensive one too. But then there seemed to be no advertising posters going around, and even not much, if any, internet marketing about this one for the most part. It looks like it was just kind of buried for some reason, which really is a shame because I had a lot of fun with this one. Now, outside of those performances, there are also some really great cameos in this one, lots of action from this punk rocker fight. You know, I mean, who doesn't like seeing white supremacists get taken out? Bits of that aspect coming into this work with the strong arm for the loan shark as well, and even more so with this huge, wildly graphic and violent rampage towards the end. And of course, to go with that through line and all these connections with these characters, they even round everything up nicely and end with a final connection push towards the end to kind of close everything out. I enjoyed this one so much I'd actually pre-ordered the Blu-ray, and here's some footage that I made about it since it was in this really cool packaging design, the edition that I got. Freaky Tales. So if you haven't seen this one yet, it's definitely worth checking out. I ended up paying for a digital rental and enjoyed it so much I bought this new kind of VHS inspired edition of it directly from Lionsgate on their website. But it's pretty much a similar size to an actual rental VHS, which of course is a little bit bigger than a normal VHS. And I'm throwing in Beta just because I was pretty impressed that I tracked down a Star Trek Beta. Anyways, it's got a nice little spine here. It is kind of difficult to fit on a shelf if you have them set for Blu-ray levels. But all the details on the back has a ton of extra features. And then inside, it's basically just has your digital information here, a couple cool stickers inspired by what we used to see at video stores back in the day, and then the 2 discs kind of attached to the middle. If you haven't seen this film, I highly recommend it. It's definitely a lot of fun. Now, yeah, it's a little off that VHS box height, but it's still really cool packaging design. Anyways, packaging aside, and complaining about the lack of marketing and how film releases are all messed up these days when it comes to marketing and their releases and so on, this one is just another really cool anthology of kind of like this sci-fi action drama music or something variety, which not only builds off an interesting concept and time, but it also has like a great cast who all deliver, and this one is definitely more than worth checking out. And speaking of checking out this video here that I put together for what's an admittedly rambling video, a recommendation for Freaky Tales from 2024, which at the time of this video is available on paid rental, but I've seen some info saying that this Friday, August 8th, it's going to be available on HBO Max, so head on over to check it out if it seems interesting. Anyways, that's all I've got for this one. Thanks for coming by and sticking around to the end. If you enjoyed, please give me a thumbs up, and if not already subscribed, consider subscribing and hitting that little bell icon to get notifications for when I put up new content, and I will see you in the next one.